Welcome back to an unexpected art lesson where we talk about the art and impact of Vincent van Gogh. So, censors in the proper context are not terrifying. They sound like good things. This is not dystopia land.
Yes. They're in every other mind in the game. They're, in fact, the main enemy. There's also, like, bad ideas and... Oh, that might be from 2. Doesn't matter. The only thing that you can fight, that you encounter in Boyd's head, are nightmares.
Oh.
You encounter 2 of them.
Basically, Boyd needs therapy.
So much therapy. But he's not gonna get it at Thorny Towers, because again...
They just have a dentist.
First of all, it's abandoned. Second of all, it's in the middle of a lake. Third of all, it's being run by a dentist who is hell-bent on world domination.
Yeah, he's not gonna get the help and support that he needs there.
No, none of them are. Him or any of the actual, quote, patients of Thorny Towers are ever going to get any of the help. Or the orderly, who was a patient, and then broke the mind of the actual orderly, and... Anyway.
So you just fight the nightmares in his mind. What are the nightmares?
I don't want to say they're the most difficult enemy, but they are the most complicated enemy. They're also the only enemy that has their own arena.
Oh.
So, the first time you can encounter nightmares is in Mia Vodello's world, who is one of your cap counselors, and she teaches you how to do levitation. So there is a side room in this world, and Watson mentioned it in the chat earlier. And this is the creepy toy box room, because Mia Vodello, before she was a Psychonaut, was a care worker at a orphanage. While she was out getting groceries, the orphanage caught on fire and burned down, and this was sort of the, maybe not the manifestation, but trauma associated with her psychic abilities, because she could hear their screams from down the road, screaming out for her as they burned to death, basically.
That's horrifying.
Terrifying.
Your girl needs therapy.
Terrifying.
And now she's a camp counselor.
Okay, but she has this off in a separate little room, and it's accessible, so it's not fully closed off, but it is separated away from her main persona.
Mm-hmm.
And her main mental world.
She's processed it.
But if you go one step deeper, there is a pit with nightmares lining the walls, and if you get close to those nightmares, and they're all behind bars, so like they're taken care of, they're not loose. But if you get close to them, it's children's voices whispering, "Mia, why didn't you save us, Mia? Mia, why did you abandon us, Mia?" Terrifying.
Yep.
Terrible.
Nightmares.
Yeah, anyway, nightmares. That's what nightmares are. So Boyds don't talk the way that Mia's do, but they do attack you just sort of randomly. Not random, it's at specific points in the level, but it feels random when it happens, because like an arm just comes out of the ground and then pulls you under. And now you're in a boss arena. The little purple worm on a string who's trying to kill you.
Like the cat toy?
They kind of look like worms on a string.
Why is he so afraid of cat toys, or is that just what nightmares look like?
That's just what the enemy design looks like.
Cool, someone just really likes animating purple worms on strings.
It's not 1-to-1, but it's close. Yeah, so you encounter those twice, and I'm having trouble remembering where and the level you encounter those. They are scripted. You encounter them at the same point, but when you're not expecting it, even if you know it's coming, and you're still not expecting it, it's kind of a jump scare.
Getting randomly yanked down into a boss arena while walking down the street would be a bit of a jump scare.
Yeah, while walking down MC Escher's nightmare. And the other thing that's kind of interesting about Boyd's level that doesn't really happen anywhere else is perspective shifts. And part of that is because it's the level where you learn clairvoyance, so they're trying to teach you how to use clairvoyance. So you have to use clairvoyance on like a camera, and then the camera like traces your steps that you take to get through a dark room. And the whole boss of the level, or not the entire boss, but like the second half of the boss fight is completely perspective shifted.
Oof.
And that's why I died, like, so many times. Because I couldn't get the handle of the reverse controls.
Oh, yeah, no, reverse controls. I can't either. There was one time where I was playing a game and it had reverse controls, and I was like, I dug through all of the settings until I could find a way to switch it back, because I was like, I can't.
See, but it's only for those sections where it's reversed. So, if you let go of clairvoyance, then you're back to the normal controls.
Yeah, I remember hating that level so much.
It's not terrible, but she also has this screechy voice and taunts you the whole time.
I still need to play that game sometime. I still haven't played
Yes.
it. Need to fix
You
that.
do. You need to play, I would say all of them, but I think Rompus of Ruin is only VR.
Yeah, I don't have something for that yet.
Casey, is there anything else you want to add about the first subject of the Milkman conspiracy?
Oh, I don't think I ever made the point I was trying to make where it's sort of Raz's greatest failure of Psychonauts 1. That's because he does actually end up releasing the Milkman persona by the end, who does open the gate, but also is standing there with a Molotov cocktail the entire rest of the game.
Not great.
No.
You can see how standing there with a Molotov cocktail can be a little unnerving for people. It's how I got disinvited to my next family reunion.
Especially when, during the game, actually, the next character that we're going to talk about spills turpentine and acetone and accidentally breaks a gas line open.
Oh boy. That's a lot of really bad things to do around a Molotov cocktail, especially because Molotov cocktails, eventually you're gonna run out of rag and the inside of the cocktail part's gonna catch fire. But speaking of a new character, Watson, do your thing.
Aye, aye. So the other character we had mentioned had some Van Gogh art inspired within his world is Edgar Tigley. It is another standout level in Psychonauts that definitely was one that kind of gave me the idea for Van Gogh while I was doing my playthrough of it. A frustrated artist whose mind is a dark and twisted landscape inspired by Van Gogh's most haunting works. When you first enter Edgar's world, you find yourself in a location that's more like a nightmarish version of the Starry Night. The sky is a swirling vortex of dark with stars that kind of pulse and flicker like dying embers. As you explore deeper into Edgar's mind, you encounter scenes that echo some of Van Gogh's most famous paintings. There's a room filled with sunflowers, but they're withered and dead. Their petals are kind of falling to the ground like tears, which is indicative of part of his overarching story. There's a self-portrait of him as well, but it's distorted and fragmented, his features kind of melting and swirling like paint on canvas. But perhaps the most powerful moment comes when you encounter Edgar's paintings of madness, a series of canvases that show the progression of his mental deterioration. Each painting is more distorted and chaotic than the last, with swirling colors and jagged lines that seems to vibrate with an almost manic energy, similar to Van Gogh's style in his later years. It's a very powerful representation of the link between that creativity and madness, and the way that art can both be a refuge and a prison for those that struggle with mental illness.
Yeah, just based on that brief description in and of itself, it sounds like someone dealing with the grief and frustration of wanting to create in a world that tries to squish any and all creativity out of you because capitalism.
That is what it sounds like, isn't it?
Yep. I definitely understand that feeling.
And then you actually play the level. So Edgar Tigley's level is actually based on the works of Edgar Tilev, who is known as the father of American black velvet painting. It's also based on matador and bull imagery, so the entire level is designed after Pamplona, Spain. It is more or less a circle with some branching paths off to the sides. And it is heavily influenced by other works of black velvet art, such as the Dogs Playing Poker series.
I did not know that the Dogs Playing Poker was considered the Black Velvet style. I guess, yeah, the aesthetics match, but cool.
Learn something new every day.
Yes. Throughout the level, you encounter both the dogs and the cards. from the dogs playing poker.
Oh, wow. I thought that, okay, I admittedly thought they were cats. I may have been really tired when I was doing that playthrough.
Yeah, because one of them is very obviously a Dalmatian.
I thought it was like a spotted cat.
As I said before, Watson, it's a good thing you're pretty.
Yeah, there's a bulldog and a collie and yeah, no, they're definitely dogs.
I must not have been paying attention to those figments when I picked them up.
They're not figments, they're NPCs. You buy the art from them.
Oh, yeah.
There are cat figments hanging around in the level. That I will give you.
So you're not totally insane, Watson.
You're not totally nuts.
In the context of the game, who is Edgar Tegley and why are we going into his brain?
Which version do you want first? The real version or the fake version that he's made up?
I think the real to fake would be the most interesting for reality here. I strangely remember that, but forget the dogs.
Hey, you know. So the real version is that Edgar Tegley was a high school wrestling star. He and all of his classmates had animal themes, and they had made it to the semifinals for their state wrestling championship. And then his girlfriend dumped him for the head of the cheerleading squad.
Okay.
And he was so upset and depressed that he blew the wrestling match, and then all of his classmates, or all of his friends on the wrestling team, his classmates, basically everyone at the school, turned on him. Whoops.
Not gonna lie, part of that sounded like the start of an episode of Criminal Minds that ends up with maybe one of the cheerleading squad girls still alive. Maybe two. Probably just one.
Anyway.
What's the made-up version?
The made-up version is that Edward Tegley is a famous artist, and the matador, famous matador, Dinko, has commissioned him to immortalize him in black velvet. During the process of this painting, he runs into Edgar's beautiful wife, the most famous flamenco dancer in all of Spain, and seduces the beautiful Lampita, Apasionado, away from Edgar, and is now holding her high up in his tower? Or something?
Yeah, tower.
And he has to go stack up cards to rescue her from her prison as she cries tears of rose petals down onto him.
So the high school wrestling star has a mental break that turns into a telenovela. Got it.
More or less. That's the lie he tells himself to make it seem less pathetic. That's really the only word for it. Sorry, Edgar. Love you, bud.
It is kind of sad, but also, dude needs to get over it. It's not the end of the world. You're in high school. You'll be fine.
He's not in high school anymore. He has gray streaks in his hair. He's much older now.
Oh, so he's one of those where he peaked in high school and forever blames that one ex-girlfriend because she realized that she's not into men?
Dun, dun.
The cheer captain was a dude, also.
Oh, gotcha. So he was left for another guy. That does suck. That is that's unfortunate. But also, that was how long ago? I think you'll be fine. We can move on now.
Exactly. Like I said, it's a little pathetic. And he probably feels that way as well, which is why he's buried those real memories down in the sewers underneath the main version of Black Velvetopia, because underneath there is the sewers are lined with gym bleachers, and just randomly in the middle there will be basketball hoops and things,
because they use the same gym for multiple things.
Exactly. And because it's high school, and there will be figments of yearbook photos and kids in towels under gym locker room shower heads and things. So that's where all the real memories got buried, is in the sewers.
Makes sense.
So he's caught up on this failure. This is where he blames all of the wrongdoings, all of the things that have gone wrong in his life. And the art room at school became his sanctuary during lunch, so that, nobody would pick on him during lunch.
Because art teachers tend to be pretty cool like that.
Yeah. So that has manifested as this art obsession, and also the artist story and the rest. And this level, although it's not particularly big, is very complicated, because all throughout it you have a massive giant bowl running through the middle of the level that will set you back to either the beginning or the closest alleyway. This bowl is called El Odio, the hatred.
Because when you let your hatred run wild, that can lead to some serious setbacks in life.
Mm-hmm. And it's also repetitive. So the reason he's here is because he's trying to do art therapy. And he's supposed to paint a picture of his patron, as he calls him, Dr. Lobato, the, dentist. Whatever. But instead of painting Dr. Lobato, he continually paints a matador and bull instead. And that makes him angry. He doesn't like being hung up on the matador and the bull.
He's hung up on his rage and keeps getting caught in this same cycle of getting frustrated and letting his self-hatred lead to self-sabotage. Or letting his hatred in general lead to self-sabotage, whether he realizes it or not.
This is also one of the only worlds that has two different representations of the main person. Because you do find a mental representation of Edgar himself, who you give the cards to in the Central Plaza. And then Elodio is actually also a representation of Edgar within his own mind. And that's the representation of both his hatred and also his almost OCD obsession with painting the bullfights.
Yeah, I'm noticing a common theme of it being anger and hatred and those very strong negative feelings that people in this game are struggling with. Does Raz accidentally let this one out, though?
No.
Good.
You go through the level, you fight all of his former wrestling buddies, you get all the cards, and you get up to Lampita, and it turns into a bullfighting arena. And at first you're supposed to help, quote-unquote, the matador, Dingus, fight Elodio. And then you realize, oh wait, Elodio is Edgar. So then you're supposed to help Edgar fight Dingo. And that's when they kind of turn back into the high school cheer squad. As Raz describes it, the JV cheer squad.
That's weirdly specific. It also feels like he's trying to pointedly say, yeah, they're not that good. These aren't the good ones.
Exactly. And so Edgar goes, man, I was hung up on some losers. And then sort of dumps them out of his mind and goes, I feel better.
Also, as a note, none of that was meant as a slight to people who are part of the junior varsity cheer squad. It's a sport, it's competitive, it's hard, y'all are doing great. But also the fact that he was hung up on something from high school that I'm pretty sure no one else remembers or really cares about. This is why we support therapy. A therapist could have helped him work through this a long time ago.
Don't see dentists for your mental health.
No.
I think that is the real salient point of Psychonauts. Don't see dentists for your mental health.
Yes. Dental hygiene is good and important, but also it is not the same as mental health care.
Because as Dr. Lobato so eloquently says himself, well, when a tooth is bad, you pull it!
Yeah, because it's totally not subtle at all having the main problem of the story be students' brains are being stolen, and then there's a dentist whose name is Lobato.
Yes.
Are there any other interesting levels or visuals in the Psychonauts game that you would like to talk about, whether it is related to the art of Van Gogh or just in general, that you think deserve more love and attention or have been a special interest that you like to talk about?
So,
I'm fully aware that I'm opening like a heck of a can of worms, but I'm doing this entirely on purpose. This is
Precisely.
go off, Queen. Have fun.
okay. So you have short-circuited me. Thank you. So there is a level that is based on kaiju movies
Oh, that's fun.
where Raz is the kaiju.
Amazing.
It's Lungfishopolis, and you go inside the mind of a fish.
That does make sense of why a fish, why Raz is the kaiju, given the size difference between fish and human.
Yeah. They call him Goggalore, which is simply funny.
That's a very funny name. I must know, why were they going into the fish's mind, though?
Because the fish has been brainwashed by the secret bad guy, who is also the first camp counselor you meet and go into the mind of, to steal the brains and take them over to Thorny Towers to be decranialized by Dr. Lobato.
Why would he need a fish to do that?
Why not?
Because he's a little off his rocker.
Fair, and also, who would ever suspect the fish?
Uh-huh.
Especially a lungfish.
A lungfish.
You have to go into the mind to break the mind control.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to An Unexpected Art Lesson, the show where we talk about everything you didn't know about art. This week, continuing to focus on the art and impact of Vincent van Gogh. If you like what we're doing, you can follow us on social media and join the conversation over at An Unexpected Art Lesson on Threads, Blue Sky, and Substack. And you can also support us over on Patreon. Get early access to episodes and other fun things at patreon.com/anunexpectedartlesson.